How's everybody doing? Hey, my bad on that. I got the blue screen of death. We got a gap down. We got a gap down in the market right now. It looked like we had some, news on some vaccine thing, but it didn't hold so far. Steve, relax for a second. Yeah, we're gonna have a good gap down. The market's been showing weakness, but this is the third down day. It looks like maybe we're gonna get a little bit of a test of the 20 EMA. I don't know. I doubt, Russian vaccine means anything in the scheme of things. We've all seen Rocky 4. We saw Rocky 4. Like, we know. We know we can't trust any Russian vaccine. That's for sure. Ivan Drago is all I gotta say. Now, on the other side of things, there is a rotation that's happening here. You're seeing people dump tech, and they're kind of getting into some of these other names, like cruise lines, and, you're seeing like some of these kind of airlines, the arcades, those type of things are going on, So, the plan really is going to have to be like, okay, if the tech stays weak, then we've got to be, in some of these other names. Gold, silver, really weak today too. You got gold sitting at the 20 SMA, which is actually, could be a decent bounce spot. At this point, it didn't hold its all-time highs, which is kind of interesting. So this could be a failed breakout. It could be a failed breakout over here. Good, yeah. What the fuck? No. Let me try to switch mics. Good, good. So yeah, you see all this kind of weakness that's happening. Gold's getting liquidated. Silver's down 7%. You're sitting on the 9 EMA. So you got all sorts of weakness that's happening over here. We're getting sold across the board. So this could, this could portend a little bit of market weakness. I think the area to watch for today is going to be kind of this 267. And then, we'll be good to go. No audio? What the fuck? Hold on here. Yeah. Alright, let's take a look at the gappers and we'll fuck around with the rest. So I think the plays for today, Nicola, we got a 4% gap down. Any kind of big dump on this? 42, 41. 42, 41, like I think we try to bounce this bad boy. If we get just any kind of pullback into the bottom of the breakout range, we're going to be good to go. Good. Now let's take a look at some of these earnings plays for today, and then we'll kind of go into the regular watch list. So you got some news out on PFX. This looks like a buyout. Leave that alone. EQ. EQ's busted up on news, but this is a pump and dump stock. You can see from here when it went from 28 to 10. Like that type of action is no good. Yeah, this Nautilus. Yeah, this one may have a chance here. So you got earnings on this Nautilus group, so everybody's buying at-home equipment, right? So at this point, when you get at-home equipment, like Norditrack kind of stuff, this type of stuff is working. This goes on with the same theme as like Peloton and all that other kind of stuff. That looks pretty good. Let's add that to the list for today. The issue on this one is going to be liquidity, like how much liquidity is there. But when you're gapping up on earnings, the float on this is just 16 million. 16 million share float, like that's pretty good. We may have a chance on this. I'd wait for a little bit of a pullback on this. If it starts to hold at the 9 EMA, 20 EMA, something like that, we'll try to give this one a little bit of a bounce. You're starting to see some of these cruisers, like something like NCLH could really get going. You're right at a sweet spot here at the 50 SMA. If it starts to break over, If it starts to break over, then I think we're going to have a chance on this one too. You can see with the rest of them, like RCL has broke over its MAs. So I think that this NCLA should be a good trailer today. We'll keep an eye on this one. I'd add that to the list for now. Good. Nio's got some news out today. So Nio, Q2 results, beat street views, provides upbeat Q3. Good. This one, this is probably top of the list for today, especially after the run in Nikola yesterday. This one very well could start to break out over this like 1670. If it starts to do that, like you're already up 7%. Now Nio's a little bit of a thick stock, so let it kind of pull back a little bit. But once it pulls back and holds, this one may have a chance to actually get going. I think that's probably top of the list. If this one goes, then probably we'll see a red to green on Nikola, and then who knows? Maybe it'll start filtering into some of the other ones. Workhorse is a big turd, but I think these Nikola and Nio are going to be two of the hot ones for today. So we're looking at these EV companies, these cruise lines, and tech is weak. So we'll probably have to leave tech alone today unless we start to get back to the 20 SMA. The 20 SMA has been the bounce spot in tech. So if the 20 SMA, if we get down there, we get like a big dump in the market and we get down there, then what we're going to want to be doing is maybe we try to bounce this FSLY. You're sitting on some support over here. LVGO also sitting on some support. Now, these things may dump through. We don't necessarily know. But I do think that we're going to get like a nice little sweet spot on these bad boys where like if tech starts to bounce, then you've got a lot of room of upside on both of these kind of names. You can see both of these are hanging out. Another name that I like that I think is going to be key today. If you see this ENPH, this is probably top of the list out of the stocks that's holding up. You had a breakout in earnings, and so it had a big, powerful move on earnings. Now you're starting to consolidate over that 9 EMA in the breakout spot. As long as this thing holds above 70, I think this one's actually going to be pretty bullish. We'll take a gander at this one. Watch and see. You've already got a decent strong open. You're up about 1%. If you start to see, this one's notorious for doing good ORBs. If it starts to push and you get an ORB, I think we could see 74.50, 76 like really quickly on this bad boy. That one's on top of the list too. Yeah, you can see here is all these kind of gold stocks, gold ETFs. They're all getting smoked out. Like this JNUG, normally I try to bounce this thing, but it's in no man's land right now. So you've got a little bit more room to fall. The key with JNUG is you don't actually use the JNUG ETF to measure, how it actually trades. You want to look at the GDX, and the GDX, because that's the regular, right, gold miners ETF. Maybe 39.50 you get a dead cat bounce, but I think this 50 SMA is probably a much better spot. So like if you're looking at potentially, getting long some gold or silver, you can see these are so extended. They've just got to come back at this point. We had a really nice run trading these back and forth, but at this point we got to let these bad boys come back. I think if they get a dead cat bounce, like we may have to look at potentially getting these bad boys, for a little bit of a short. We'll see if a dead cat bounces here. Like at the open, if you see like a little squeeze on JNUG, and then watch and see if you get lower highs. If we start to roll over on this bad boy, like we'll take a short on this thing. Good. INO had its earnings out. Shocker, like they didn't have anything going. This one's already down 11%, so the SSR is going to be on. But this is another one. If we get a little bit of a pop on this intraday at the open, 1725, 1775, if it tosses into the 9 EMA, 20 EMA on a dead cat bounce, we'll take a little bit of a short on this one. This one's a bleeder at this point. Everybody probably, no matter what, like they were never going to have a coronavirus vaccine. Like INO, since I've been trading, has always been a turd. Like it's always been a $2 stock. And it randomly every couple of years gets pumped up. but most likely, like this one's gonna be a bleeder. But we do got to catch it on a little bit of a pop. If it does, then I think we'll be good to go. What are you guys all watching? Yeah, the market's gonna be market's down about 0.5%. If you look at the SPY's holding up though. So this is just what we call like a rotation, a sector rotation. See, the SPY's up. You know, if you look at the IWM's up 1%. You know, this one's been really trending nicely the last few days. I think that this one's going to have a little bit of a chance. You know, we've just got to go into different names. So we've been trading tech stocks forever, but when there's a rotation happening, then you know you've got to kind of bust out of one and go into the other. So leave tech alone unless you start to see a rebound or a red to green on the QQQs. If you see a red to green on the QQQs, then I think you're going to be good to go. Planet Fitness. This Planet Fitness kind of goes with the theme of like, you know, cruise lines, airlines, David Buster, amusement parks, like all these type of names are popping. This Planet Fitness been a downtrend since 80, got down to 50. What you're starting to see now is a remount of all these MAs here. It's up 4%, so I won't chase this thing up. I think if this one pulls back at the open, we want to maybe watch this one for a potential rebound. You had a nice trend on this. It was 5 points yesterday. That's a pretty good sized trend. Let's watch and see this one pull back. This is top of the list. Now Run had some, I believe Run already had. It's amazing because Run's really Run, obviously, but their earnings weren't anything special. It looks like they may have even missed on the earnings, but it doesn't really matter. The reason is that, you know, solar's just been hot all year. I think that this one, like, you know, let's watch this one. We'll see how it reacts around 48. If it starts to push over it, then I think we're going to have a chance on this one. I'd add it, but I would not chase this one up. You got to be careful. Sometimes, like, what they'll do is fake breakout. You know, if they miss on the earnings, they'll get a little fake breakout going, and next thing you know, like, this thing is done for. Let's add that one too. What was the other one that goes with Run? VSLR. Yeah, you can see this. It's the same chart because one bought out the other. Yeah, I like that one too. Now let's go on the downside here, see if there's anything. Man, look at this Goose Island. So there's a couple tech stocks that have already been getting nailed. Goose Island, Canada Goose, Slumps revenue decline. Man, this one's actually got some room to fall here. So you got down 8% here. If you take out this trend line here, I actually think that this one probably could be a decent short. Let's see if this thing ORBs. If you ORB or do a quick pullback on this, like, I think this will be top of the list. This one looks pretty good. Add that to the list for now. Dun dun dun. Ring, PAS. Let's take a look at this STAA. Yeah, you can see this one's a big bleeder, but this one's down too many days in a row at this point. You know, it's probably more on a rubber band short than anything. So surgical, lower estimate. I'd watch that one, but I'd probably be more leaning towards bounce on this just because of how much it's pulled back. Probably nothing at this point. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, NVAC. So all these virus names are getting smoked out. Like, yeah, you know, mRNA sitting on some support here, but the intraday price action on this has been pretty weak. So I'd keep them on the list, but I don't know if we're going to get like some hot run on this bad boy. Ooh. Yes, this FSOI is holding support. It's getting defended right here at that 76. This thing is, damn, I was hoping for a little ad on this bad boy. Yeah, this one's going to be a little bit tricky, but it looks pretty good. So if tech starts to go, right, this one's got a bounce spot. We got LVGO. It should hold here. We'll see how these things act. And I think Nile's really top of the list. So what are we going with? Cruisers. These earnings plays. And then these EV companies. Everything else, probably okay, but we could try some bounces in tech if they start to hold some support, but we'll need some confirmation on the QQQs. Yeah, another one to watch, maybe see this car over here. This one actually looks more like a swing trade. You know, all these plays, like names that have been beaten down because of the virus, they're starting to kind of break out of their bases. So like something like car, you know, something like play. See, like these got really long bases. These are probably on the first pull. You know, if you can pull in the next couple days, probably will turn into swings. You know, another one that looks actually pretty good for a range break is this CLR. You got yourself a nice kind of pull on that one too. And then add this VRM to the list. Yeah, I think this one's going to be... This one needs just a little bit more work, but see, its earnings are tomorrow, so probably... Let's actually take that off the list. ENPH, this one's hot. That's the list, I'm sticking to it. Hey, I apologize for being late today. I'll be in the chat room all day doing what I do. I'll be back at regular time on Thursday. Let's go do what we do.